Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode in a brand new Let's Play of Star Trek New Horizons, a total conversion mod for Stellaris. Many of you will know that I have already done one playthrough in this game, and that was the Federation playthrough. So if you are new to this and would like to learn a bit more about the game and how it works, I suggest you go to that playthrough to get your feet wet. Because this one will be very much different, and even though I will again be very descriptive and I will try to explain my train of thought very much, would say is the way to put it, I suggest that one first because it's very tutorial-like and I tried to explain all the mechanics. Here we are going to go a bit faster and we're gonna do something very different than the Federation. I've spent a lot of time thinking about how to make this playthrough special, and I tried to choose the race that you guys wouldn't have seen played before, and I'm happy to say that I don't think any other person have ever done this race before. Please don't prove me wrong if I'm wrong, but I did a quick check on YouTube and found nothing. So it's none of these major races, none of the ones that you are used to seeing, but instead we are going to play the Tholian assembly. Now the Fobian assembly is as different to the Federation as you can pretty much get. The Tholians reside on the Class Y planets, the Demon class. Yes, that's correct. That's the planet that we were completely unable to utilize and that we had at best 30% habitability, even with the myriad of races that we were governing as the Federation. So they live on the most inhospitable planets that man can imagine. They're also a crystalline life form, which gives them pretty interesting perks. They don't consume food. Instead, they produce more minerals and consumer goods, but they grow very slow and they have a general penalty for habitability. They only reside on the Demon class planets, and they have a very limited habitability on savanna and desert planets. I'm not entirely sure, but only on the very warm planets, and they're very bad for them. They're natural physicists, which gives them a boost of 15% in output of physics research. And they're conformist. Their governing ethics attraction is increased by 30%. These people always seek consensus and are more likely to conform to the governing ethics. They also have some interesting perks here. They have a citizen service. Are you doing your part? Full citizenship and the political responsibility that comes with it is limited to those who have served a tour of duty in the military. Service guarantees citizenship. Oh, that brings back memories. So their soldiers also produce 2 unity, and naval capacity is increased by 15% by default. They have a search for perfection. Tholian society, while mysterious and strange to outsiders, is entirely transparent within, with no lies and deceit. The assembly as a whole is also incredibly efficient with zero tolerance for mistakes and tardiness. So they give extra 5 administrative capacity, and buildings and district costs are lowered by 15%. They are, on the other hand, highly xenophobic, so they can purge aliens, they can enslave aliens, they have a decreased opinion for other species, they cannot give aliens full citizenship, they cannot allow aliens full military service, and they cannot use refugees welcome species policy. So this is the emphasis of what Federation has. On the other hand, Starbase influence cost is lowered by 20%, and defense platform hull points are increased by 10%. So they pretty much hate everyone and keep to their own. They're materialists, which means they have the academic privilege living standards. They cannot use AI outlawed policy, and they cannot use robotic workers outlawed policy. Their empire modifiers are monthly alloys are increased by 5%, and research speed is increased by 5%. As we reach for the stars, we must put away childish things, gods, spirits, and other phantasms of the brain. Reality is cruel and unforgiving, yet we must steel ourselves and secure the survival of our race through the unflinching pursuit of science and technology. And last but not least, Fobians are militarists. They cannot use no-retreat war doctrine. Oh, they can use the no-retreat war doctrine. Empire modifier, claim influence cost is lowered by 10%, and ship fire rate is increased by 10%. The only true virtues are courage and discipline, and channeled properly they can overcome any obstacle. Therein lies true strength. Farce withheld, a promise made. So, this gives you a brief overview of who the Tholians are, but here we have another description that I would like to read now. They are considered a hard difficult and are residing in the Alpha Quadrant. The Tholians are an extremely xenophobic, silicon-based race native to the planet Tholia, which is located in the outer regions of the Alpha Quadrant. They are a quadruped crystalline species with an outer carapace through which fluid can be seen circulating mercury. Their bodies require a high temperature to function, and if exposed to lower temperatures could freeze solid and shatter. Fobians are isolationists in nature, thus making Tholian silk a highly prized and difficult commodity to obtain. So, from this you can see that we are going to approach this completely differently than we have in the original playthrough where we played the Federation. We're gonna be highly xenophobic, keeping to ourselves, very few treaties, probably quite a lot of wars. If we are attacked, we won't surrender, and we're gonna try to spread as far as possible. I'm also going to be highly picky about the planets that we can reside on, because pretty much the only one that we can do is Class Y, the Demon class planet. I'm also very much sure that there won't be much interaction with other races at all. I already mentioned no treaties or anything, but as we're gonna be xenophobic and isolationist, I'm not gonna initiate much except for the rivalries and probably try to purge some races if we have the possibility. I'm still not sure about the slavery. We'll have to see how that goes, but yeah, we're gonna enjoy ourselves. So let's select this race and look at the rules. So we're looking at the Milky Way galaxy here. We have 1400 plus star systems. There's 89 plus empires in the game. We're gonna play in the lower rich static galaxy as before. It's the official New Horizons map. I'm gonna increase the tech and tradition cost all the way to 5 times. Last time we played on 4 times, I believe, and it was in a way fitting with the Star Trek world, but in the end it seemed like we were speeding quite fast, and there was a lot of extra technologies that I had never seen in Star Trek before, so I think the 5 times will be better. The habitable worlds will be lowered to a minimum, because we already had the problem with that. I think we had like half in the original playthrough, and we had so many planets that it was really hard keeping track of them all. Victory years are off. Difficulty will be the second highest. I'm gonna play on Admiral. I think the last one was either Captain or Commodore, so we're upping up the game quite a lot. There's no scaling difficulty. I'm gonna keep AI aggressiveness on normal, and Iron Mod is, of course, off. So, with all that said, I'm gonna start the game now, and I'll see you in the game where we are going to check our starting situation. I wanted to say options, but situation is more like it. So, here we are in the game. The Fobian Assembly. Government Ruling Conclave. Ruler is Tazlitv, a male, age 44. He's a fertility preacher and an urbanizer. We're gonna check what that means later on. The species are Tholians. We've already checked that. Capital is Phobia Prime. Here are our ethics. We've already spoken about that. The lattice quivers. Across Folia, thousands of forums cry out, the voice of our people reverberating across the great crystal city for miles. Great matrons that have not left their hives for years slowly climb out and make their way to the meeting palace, helped by their progeny. Our great fleet returns from the outskirts of our domain, their own forums spilling into vast concourses. No one wishes to miss Choice Day. Today each forum will come together and choose their magistrates, leaders, and captains. From those, the Lattice will select our next leaders, but we already know their task, for the Lattice has already shown us the way. For too long, we have kept closed our borders and kept away from the rest of the galaxy. While we rested, threats grew. Lesser empires or lesser beings, yes, yet still a danger. This must be done carefully, delicately. It will not be an easy task, or a short one, and in time we may even need to deal with those empires to give the pretense of friendship. We might even need to lie, but hold firm, for the Lattice must hold. Be correct, we do not tolerate deceit. Last scan of the Tholians. So here we are. This is our system, Folia Prime. We're located in the very edge of the Alpha Quadrant, as was mentioned. We have the Folia Prime planet here. We have a fleet, a station, and one construction and one science ship. So, it's gonna be very hard to start explaining all the differences, but I'm gonna try my best, so bear with me. So Folia Prime is a demon class planet with 100% habitability. Here we have our population. This is the demon preference. So we have a demon class habitability plus 90%, and we can also reside on savanna, desert, and marginal planets, but only at 40% habitability. So that's not really good. The conformists, natural physicists, and crystalline life forms we have already checked. There's 20 million or 20 billion people, I guess would be the right way to put it, living on our planet right now. Now, before I go any further, there has been a massive update to the game since the last time that I've played, and there is a huge difference in how the game now works. There are still buildings and there is still population, but the big difference is that planet doesn't really give you the maximum population. It gives you the maximum planet size, which is used for what could be called districts. We have cities, we have energy districts, we have lava districts, and we have agricultural districts. These each are built and give you housing and jobs. Each job can be assigned to a population, and that one in turn produces output. Each building also gives jobs and gives you some sort of modifier. So for example, we have administrative complex here, which gives 4 housing, 5 amenities, 1 web weaver job, and gives some production. So here you can check what each of these people provide. For example, we have, here's a primary education network, which gives us 2 student jobs, and these students now each give a bit of research. 4.9 physics, 4.3 societal research, and 4.3 engineering. So as the population grows, you build more districts to house them, and you build more buildings to keep them busy. Right now we can build 2 extra buildings, and additional places will open up as our population grows. So, I hope I made this clear. If not, please feel free to ask me for more clarification. I'll be happy to do it. But right now we are doing sort of okay. We are producing quite a lot of minerals and energy, some consumer goods, some alloys, some influence, some unity. This is also a big difference from the original. There are some new resources here. Minerals are now used for buildings and for mining stations, while alloys are the ones that you build ships out of. We also need to keep consumer goods up because this is what keeps our population happy. We don't really need to deal with food at all because our people don't eat food, and energy is sort of not a problem. I ran a test game of the Federation and it was fairly okay. We can deal with that easily. So I really like this system way more, because now you just don't need to deal with buildings and population. You deal with buildings as providers of jobs, and then you deal with the population as it goes. So that covers a bit of the phobia and the situation there. Now there's a new thing as well that you will see me using a lot, which is the market. You can sell things that you have excess amount of, and you can buy things that you lack on the market. So we're mostly gonna be buying alloys, because these things are really hard to come by, and whatever you do, you always need more of them than you can provide. There's also platinum as a general thing that is generated by it's an energy. It's like money, and it's being automatically produced by our people. So right now you can see there's extra resources here. We have processed dilithium, we have trained officers, which we need for ships, and there's also latinum here somewhere. Here, latinum. So we're gaining 0.2 every month from the, I would say, trade and richness of our population. So yeah, our goal for this game, or for the beginning, would be to spread out evenly around Folia and spread outwards and create a suitable border for ourselves where we can reside, because we're going to, as I said, we're going to be highly isolationist and xenophobic. So while Federation was here and was growing pretty much by eating up the other races around it and including them in the Federation, we're gonna have to keep to ourselves. So it's gonna be very, very different. So let's check also the policies that we have set in the beginning, so that we know what we are doing. So we have war philosophy of unrestricted wars. That seems like a thing that Fobians would have. War is a complex matter, war between the stellar nations even more so. How we approach armed conflicts is of critical importance to external affairs. So unrestricted wars, we can attack anyone. Orbital bombardment, we have widespread bombardment, we don't have full scale. Allows widespread use of orbital weaponry with little regard to the civilian infrastructure or the local ecosystem. Yeah, we just don't care, we bomb the shit out of people. As we are xenophobic, the organic races really don't matter to us. I wouldn't be surprised if we cared more about the buildings than the planets. Resettlement allowed, of course. Land appropriation allowed, of course. First contact protocol were aggressive. As we travel the stars, there is a definite possibility of finding other life forms, and we need to have a clear stance on how to approach them. We're aggressive. We always close our borders to the enemy. Refugees, we don't take in, only citizen species. We allow population control, we allow slavery, and we allow extermination of races. Our healthcare policy is university hospitals. This one we might check maybe later on. This means that hospitals gives us 5 society research each. There's also privatized healthcare, which would give us additional trade values. Free medical access, which would give us more unity. Birth clinics, which would give us more population growth. Oh, this might be actually pretty good. The focus on our healthcare system is to increase the welfare of our offspring and to promote the growth of our population. Every healthcare job will produce an additional 5% pop growth. Oh, I might switch to this eventually, because having more people would be very useful for us. Especially with the penalty that we have of 1/3 slower growth. Modernized infrastructure increases amenities and longevity focus. Okay, every healthcare job will increase our reader lifespan. Okay. Education policy, we have balanced studies. I think that's pretty much okay. And gender equality, yes, gender equality is set on. Okay, so now let's check our... Wait, not our situation log, but let's check our leader. So our leader is Tazit. He's a Fobian male, 44. Fertility preacher, food growth from job 10%. Oh, that sucks. But he has a pop growth speed plus 5%. Oh, that is useful. Every bonus for that counts. And he's an urbanizer, which means that happiness is increased by 2% and the house building cost is lowered by 20%. That's good. That is good. And his agenda is to grow the economy, which means that we earn 10% more energy credits from jobs. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna disable auto-generation of ships. We're gonna design them ourselves. And let's look at the technologies that we have available. We're gonna set up things for ourselves. So, what do we have for physics? So we can go with civilian transport complex, a small complex designed to facilitate civilian transportation between worlds with all immigration processes and medical clearances required. That would give us a maintenance engineer job who produces energy, physics research, and engineering research. Plus he gives some extra bonuses. Okay, or hardened fields, which is a bonus for ships. By creating a force field inside our ships, we are able to seal hull breaches and absorb structural stress from incoming fire, and in doing so, it increases the durability of our ship's hull. Or we can go with the matter fabricator, which would give us maintenance engineer jobs +1 and produce some... okay, so it costs 15 energy to run, but it produces 8 minerals, and the job produces extra energy and extra physics research. And I won't lie, I'm not entirely sure what that last symbol is. Okay, none of these really seems interesting to me. So I guess we're gonna go with the hardened fields here. Defensive force fields. It has been found that dense field of gravitons can absorb or deflect a range of harmful phenomena. Current graviton emitters do not allow for a whole ship to be encompassed. However, they can create force fields inside a ship to seal hull breaches and absorb structural stress from incoming fire. This should improve the durability of a ship's hull. Okay, that's gonna be useful. So let's go with society. Here we have Saramine, who is a doctor. Okay, she increases the research speed of biology by 7% and lives longer. And of course we have no biology here, but this one is going to be pretty easy. There's a New World Horizon technology here which allows us to build colony ships. I don't really expect us to finding a demon class planet anytime soon, but the New World Horizon is a must-have. If you miss this technology and then the game is a dick, you will not be able to colonize until very much later on. So New World's Horizon, calculating required resources and gear required to establish a planetary colony, allows us to herd brave pioneers into grand colony ships, confident that they will survive the long voyage across the stars to their new home. It allows us to build a colony ship. Now, if the changes to the planets have done anything, it only made them more valuable, so colony ships are a must now. In engineering, we have the Spark of Gene. Wow, we are very lucky with our researchers. So let's see what we have in engineering. So Tritanium Hull, or Topaline Refinery, Topaline Refining, which would allow us to collect Topaline, or inertia manipulation. Now let's go with titanium hull. Titanium is a metallic alloy which is about 20 times harder than diamond. If we are able to discover how to melt it, we can apply this alloy to our ships more durable. Okay, and titanium hull, by applying this new lighter material to our ship's hull, it would make our ships even more durable. So basically we're making our ships way better right now and researching colony ships. Not a great start, but we were very lucky with our original engineering, research people. That's what I wanted to say. And we have no governor, so let's hire one. Actually, we do have one. Trust growth and trust gap. Do you have someone who would boost growth? Planet build speed, building cost, district cost. Oh, no one. So we're gonna assign you to our planet, to Fovea Prime. We're gonna make the people a bit more happier and make us produce more things. Now, I already mentioned that the alloys is the most important resource that we can have. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna wait for... Where is it? I'm gonna wait for ally foundries, which cost 255 minerals. We are lacking 55, but that's gonna change soon. And we're gonna put people to work there. You can see that each person working in the alloy foundries generates 7 alloys per turn, but they consume 12 minerals. So if we jump on that right now, we would have production of 20 alloys, but we would fall into a bit of debt as far as minerals go. But that's okay. We're gonna do it anyway, because minerals are everywhere to be had. I never had a problem with those. And we're also going to go with the Frontier Hospital, because the jobs base production increases the research of society, and it gives bonus to population growth, so that is really important as well. So these 2 buildings will be the next one we build, and once we get to 21, I might consider another alloy foundries. Or maybe the lava mining network, because that gives more minerals for our people. You can see that it gives a bonus of 30% in the minerals production. But don't be afraid, it's gonna all come to peace once we're done. Okay, let's now go and give some first orders. We have Fovea 5 here and Fovea 6, giving us possibilities for engineering research. So I'm gonna go with that and send these people there. So we're gonna build me a research station here and then research station here, and we're gonna send our first science ship. Oh, nice! Led by Tozrax, the scientist, who is careful. He has an increased chance to discover anomalies by 25%. Okay, but he's a bit slower in researching them and a bit slower in survey, but this is pretty good still. Anomalies can yield us a big bonuses, and we're gonna send her to the first closest system to research there. Okay, I believe that's enough for this first episode. I have been speaking quite a lot, but you should know now a bit more about Tholians and about why I'm looking forward to playing them. And in the next episode, I'll be back with some more news and showing you what we have done in the meantime. As in the first playthrough, I will skip the boring part, so you will hopefully only see the interesting things. So, see you in the next episode.